Hi, it's Xavier, Expressions of Grace Bonsai, and in the final of my oak series, I know we've had 2 oak episodes already. I'm going to deal with the issue of the fusion confusion, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of it, and I sort of said a few times I might try it with oak, and what I have done is I sort of compromise, and this one here. I threw it together yesterday just to see if I could make it work, and it's based a little bit of I think what Sid Pavey did with his oak fusion, and it's where he's actually looking to I don't know whether it's grafting or to actually combine the cambium layers. No, to combine the cambium layers. And what I did is a couple of those whips. 2 that went together well, and then sliced off a little bit of cambium on each of them, and then bounded them together. Bambi's bound. Don't know where the tree's bound, but anyway, I did that. Put them together, and my intention is to grow those as twin trunks and see what happens. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do, and it may well be that I'll still at the end of it throw the remaining together in as tight a clump as I can. And again, I might use wire, which I know is going to dig in, but again, it was something that I'm sure it was Sid Pavey did, to create a really nice effect. Anyway, that's my intention. So let's crack on with the fusion confusion. Okay, so you'll know that I already sorted through all of the oaks, got them out of their old potting mix. Ran out of time, so just dumped them in this. So it should just come out nice and cleanly. A little bit of quick. There we go. 1. That actually's got quite a nice leaner. That may still well go into an individual pot actually, I think. Right, that's nice and straight. What I'm looking for is something that I can butt together, but also still produce a reasonable. Okay, that one I took all the roots off, so actually that might work. That's the other way you look at it. You find one where it's a lot more roots on one side, and then you do the slicing on the opposite, which could be that one. And then maybe a third. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is basically have a play around with these and see which ones go together best and produce a reasonable shape. I'll come back to you when I've decided. Okay, I found 2 that go together quite well, and it's these 2 here. They produce nice roots, but the interest there is that I think you can see there how well they go in there. There's that interesting, I don't know if you can see it, the dead bit. So what I'm going to do is very carefully, ideally I'd mark it, but I'm going to have my fingers there, rest that there, double check, I want it into that gap there. So I basically need to take that off. Sharp knife. Now, for those of you who've got really good eyesight, you'll have noticed there's been a tree swap, and that's because I was a bit heavy-handed with the knife and I ended up hacking a lot more of that off than I intended. So I've found a second one, which I'm going to put together. So again, we've got nice, I don't know if you can see, relatively nice, tight, clean join there. And what I want to do is try and find another one very two-dimensional if I go that way. Okay, well, just for the sake of this, we're going to try this third one. Again, I'm using raffia because I do want it to actually decompose. Now, as you know, 2 of them I scored to
join them together tightly. The third one happened to sit nicely into the hollow. So
This is the difficult bit with just one person, is trying to tie that together.
So we've got 3 there, tightly together. Reasonable set of roots around it.
And I'm just going to put that in a pot.
Just want to make sure the roots are how I want them. Spread out.
Okay, so that is it in a nutshell. You can do it with 2, 3, 7 trees. I'll have a go at it with 7 trees. The method you come to actually binding them together, in the next one I'm going to use wire and see how that actually works out in the end, because with oak it swells up and over, so I'll just leave the wire in there. But the good thing is that I like about oak, and I've said it numerous times already over the last few episodes, is that although this may initially look a little bit there are so many little buds down here and further up that leave it for a year, then revisit it, cut it right back low, maybe cut one here. You can start altering the heights. You need to touch it with wire. It's just about continually monitoring and looking at bud points. So that's the first of my oak fusion confusions, and I'll do the same thing with the 7. I won't bother with the slicing through the bark to expose cambium. I'm not sure how that'll work. I noticed down at the root level it doesn't show the same sort of green, so I'm just going to combine them as tightly as I can and see what we get. So we'll do that next, shall we? Now, I did also mention there was one here, I think it was that one, which I was going to just see how those roots develop. I could probably put a rock in there as well if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. That's it, and I'll leave that for, certainly won't touch that for a couple of years. Right, let's see how many we can tie together. Do I find something to wrap it around?
Okay.
I've had this bit of driftwood for certainly 3 years, and hard as a broom handle. No idea what it originally was, but that could be quite interesting later on. So I'm going to try and get stuff that's going to maybe wrap up around this. I think that's a bit hard, to be honest. So I got there, and I tried to find elastic bands. Tony's method. I know that seemed to work really well, but let's get these all out. I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to systematically go through each of them, remove the roots on the side that I think is flattest and least interesting, so that's the side I'll put to the stick, and then I'll come back to you when I've done that, because this is just going to be pretty sort of gangly in hands and all that sort of stuff, but you know what I'm trying to do. Okay, so it is awkward, there's no doubt about it. I actually started off trying glue tack, but that really doesn't work, and then I realised just a straightforward bit of 1.5mm wire. The first 2 are held tightly on already, so they act as an anchor point, and then as I put each one in, I just pull the wire and I can keep grip of it like that. So it's just a case now of slowly feeding them around. I mean, look at it. Absolute mess in there, but I say it's not my favourite. I just want to see what it looks like when it's finished. So there's the first set around it. I mean, it looks absolutely ridiculous. But again, I know with oaks I can do so much with them, so might just tie that a bit tighter around there as well. And I don't know, it's definitely a confusion. I have no idea if that stick in the middle makes any great difference at all, but it might be to see what happens when this stuff grows up a little bit more. And I think I might be able to slip one just there, but once this initial group is set, I might look at it next year and then see if I can add to it. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to put it in that. I might just bind that. Mind you, that's quite tightly bound actually. All I want to do is make sure the roots I have got there are spread out. Right, I'm not going to pretend that's as good as Kenneth or Tony or anyone else who does these, Sid Baby, anyone who does these properly. But I wanted to try something, so I've tried a couple of a 2 and a 3. There's the 2 there, and the 3 is somewhere else. But I'll be interested to see how this. My initial plan is to let the wire and the roots really grip in together and combine. I'm less worried about what happens here right now. I just want to see how that that clump forms. I have a feeling that having watched others do it, that I can then start slipping in more filling oaks in between, or I don't know. I mean, it might be a bit difficult with this one coming away, but I have no idea what it's supposed to represent. So I think aptly naming this the Oak Fusion Confusion is probably pretty close to the truth. Those rest of those oaks I'm just going to put up in a little container and leave them for another year, because they'll be the stuff I need for that probably. I think that's oaks done until we're fully leafed out. We're doing some pruning late May, and then you'll see some of the bigger ones. So from Xavier, in the noisy patio end of the garden. Glad I've tried it. It's not my thing, but we'll see what happens. Who knows? It may be something that I'll grow to love. But I will say this: I do think it's a really good way of matching whips together to make twin trunks. Certainly, we get that cambium touching and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, enough of that. I hope you've enjoyed this. Short and sweet. Anyway, before we sign off, why don't we nip over to Subscribers Corner. I've had some more photos sent in, so you can flash through some of those. And I'll say now, please, if anyone, you know how much I'm interested in the rest of your trees, and I know Jay does this, so it's not to take over from what he does, but I really am interested in see what stuff you're doing with your bonsai. I know there's a lot of really skilled enthusiasts out there, much better than me, and I do mean that. I can tell from the comments that I get. Send photos through. expressionsbonsai@gmail.com. If I get enough of them together, I'll definitely put them up. And you know, I've already seen 1 or 2 that I've learnt from, so it all helps me. So with that little diatribe, I'll send you straight over to the corner. Okay, well, hopefully you enjoyed those pictures. Thanks very much for sending them in. All I can say now is I've still got surrounded by beautiful trees. I'm very, very blessed and lucky. I've got a brilliant family, and got Jason visiting in a week, Jason Hanrahan of the Bonsai Garden. So I'm looking forward to that as we tackle a very, very difficult juniper, which truthfully, that 4-foot juniper I think is really just going to be putting into decent soil. But we'll see if we can have some fun with it. Goodness knows whether that's the order that these things follow, but you know, where are we now? I think we're somewhere around about the 22nd of April right now, so gives you a bit of context of where and what I'm doing things with. The oaks now, just starting to open up a few of them, so I'm really not going to do very much more in terms of repots on those things. Yeah, so from Xavier, happy bonsaiing, God bless, cheers.